Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing very well. Today we're looking at the World War II V-1 flying bomb, and in particular a challenge that our lovely background helper Ivan has set up for us. So we've got a picture of the V-1 bomb there. V-1 flying bomb was an early cruise missile and the only production aircraft to use a pulse jet for power. The V-1 was the first of the so-called Vengeance weapons series. V weapons for, oh here we go, Vergeltungswaffen. Deployed for the terror bombing of London. It was developed at Peenemünde Army Research Centre in 1939 by the Nazi German Luftwaffe at the beginning of the Second World War, and during initial development was known by the code name Cherry Stone. Because of limited range, thousands of V-1s launched into England were fired from launch facilities along the French Pas-de-Calais and Dutch coasts. The Wehrmacht first launched the V-1 to target London on 13th of June 1944. 1 week after, and prompted by the successful Allied landings in Europe. At peak, more than 100 V-1s a day were fired at southeast England. 9,521 in total. I had no idea it was that many. Decreasing in number as sites were overrun until October 1944, when the last V-1 site in range of Britain was overrun by Allied forces. After this, the Germans directed V-1s at the port of Antwerp and other targets in Belgium, launching 2,448 V-1s. The attack stopped only a month before the war in Europe ended. So the main surprise for me there is the amount that was fired. I thought it was hundreds, not thousands.
Yeah, but they were cheap compared to the V2.
Yeah, I guess they were cheap, weren't they? This is RAF Duxford, which I've been to God knows how many times, and this is the, I don't know how they got it here, but an original V-1 shell and ramp that it would take off on. Power plant. Ignition of the Argus pulse jet was accomplished using an automotive type spark plug located 76 centimeters behind the intake shutters, with current supplied from a portable starting unit. 3 air nozzles in front of the pulse jet were at the same time connected to an external high-pressure air source that was used to start the engine. Acetylene gas was typically used for starting the engine, and very often a panel of wood or similar material was held across the end of the tailpipe to prevent the fuel from diffusing and escaping. Before ignition, the V-1 was fueled by 625 litres of 75 octane gasoline. Oh, I didn't know it was gasoline. The Argus AS-014, known as a resonant jet, could operate at 0 airspeeds because of the nature of its intake shutters and its acoustically tuned resonant combustion chamber. However, because of the low static thrust of the pulse jet and the very high stall speed of the wings, the V-1 could not take off under its own power in a practically short distance, and thus needed to be ground launched by aircraft catapult or air launch from modified aircraft such as a Heinkel HE-111. The guidance system used is a simple autopilot developed by Askania in Berlin to regulate altitude and airspeed. The RLM at first planned to use a radio control system with a V-1 for precision attack, but the government decided instead to use the missile against London. A weighted pendulum system provided fore and aft attitude measurement to control pitch, dampened by a gyro compass, which also stabilised it. Is this like the beginning of INS, do you think, Ivan, or is that an overstatement?
Might as well be.
Because he has gyro compass at the end of the day, which is essentially a short version of what INS is. Operating power for the gyroscope platform and the flight control actuators was provided by 2 large spherical compressed air tanks, which also pressurized the fuel tank. These air tanks were charged to 150 atmospheres, wow, 2200 psi. I don't know anything that's that high, that's amazing, before launch, with the odometer determining how far the missile would fly. It was only necessary to launch the V-1 with the ramp pointing in the approximate direction and the autopilot controlled the flight. I didn't know that. I thought they had to literally aim it to the nearest decimal degrees, but I didn't realise the autopilot controlled it, so that's interesting. There was a more sophisticated interaction between your roll and other sensors. A gyro compass gave feedback to control the dynamics of pitch and roll in flight. This interaction meant that rudder control was sufficient for steering and no banking mechanism was needed, so no ailerons. That's interesting. There was also a turbojet-propelled upgraded variant proposed, meant to use the Porsche 109005 low-cost turbojet engine with about 1,100 pounds of thrust. Almost 30,000 V1s were made, by March 1944. Statistics. So that is a lot. Mass 2.15 metric tons. Length 8.32 meters. Width 5.35 meters. Height 1.42 meters. Warhead an amateur 39, then a triolin. Warhead weight 850 kilos. Wow, it's nearly a ton of warhead. Didn't realise that. I'm amazed it could fly, to be honest. Detonation is an electrical impact fuse, backup mechanical fuse, with a backup mechanical impact fuse. Time fuse to prevent examination of internal components. That's interesting. So is that in case it landed and neither of its previous fuses went off, it had a time fuse to self-detonate?
Yeah, basically if it landed itself and it's not detonating, that someone can go there and research it. So they put a time fuse so it will explode, whatever.
Wow, what a piece of kit. The engine is the Argus AS109014 Pulse Jet. And I remember they sounded amazing in the videos. Operational range 250 kilometers, which is quite a long way, really. Speed 640 kilometers an hour, 400 miles an hour, which is just within keeping of a Spitfire or something, flying between 600 and 900 meters. Here we have a breakdown picture of it. So there are the compressed air balls, got the wings, filler cap, fuse pockets, airlog measuring. Okay, so that odometer spins round and that measures how many miles it's done. Interesting. Got the nose detonator, the compass inside a wooden sphere, belly landing, fuse switch in case it lands, warhead approximately. So that's the warhead there, which is a big old unit. Fuel tank approximately 150 gallons. So that's that. Sheet steel with sheet steel. Oh, that's interesting. It's steel wing cowling. How interesting. Pressed steel wing ribs. So it must have been a really heavy unit for its size. So I guess it was really, wasn't it? Fuel consumption approximately 1 gallon per 10 seconds. 1 gallon per mile. Automatic pilots at the back. 30 volt dry cell battery there. Pneumatic servo mechanism for rudder and elevators. The jets and a separate pylon on the top. Nacelle, 600 pounds of thrust. Okay, very interesting. Real piece of kit. Okay, so that's a bit of history about the Pulsejet V1 Doodlebug. Now we're going to have a look at the challenge. The intended operational altitude of the V1 was originally set at nearly 3,000 meters. However, repeated failures of a barometric fuel pressure regulator led to it being changed in May 1944, halving the operational height. The average speed of V1s was 550 kilometers an hour, 340 miles an hour. It's going to be about 300 knots, a little less. That is fast. And the average altitude was 1,000 meters, about 3,000 feet, as we can see, to 4,000 feet. Fighter aircraft required excellent low-altitude performance to intercept them and enough firepower to ensure that they were destroyed in the air rather than crashing to earth and detonating, or at least enough to stand well off while detonating the bomb to avoid being damaged by the struck blast. Most aircraft were too slow to catch the V1 unless they had a height advantage, allowing them to gain speed by diving on their target. Early attempts to intercept and destroy the V1s often failed, but improved techniques soon emerged. These included using the airflow over the interceptor's wing to raise one wing of the V1 by sliding the wingtip to within 6 inches of the lower surface. Who the hell figured this out? Of the surface of the V1's wing. If properly executed, this maneuver would tip the V1's wing up, overriding the gyro and sending the V1 into an out-of-control dive. Or the pilot would tip the wing of the V1 with its own wing tip. And you can see there, I think that's a spit by the looks of the shape of the wing.
That's the actual picture of it.
Wow, how about that? Tipping the wing, Spitfire intercepting V1, right, yeah. So that was probably something similar. We got a Mach 9 low flying or something, I guess. No, it's 1944, and that'll be a later model than the Mach 9. We've got this video. Let's go and have a quick look at this video. Okay, so that's what we've got to do. So what we need to do is put an aircraft to replace the V-1, as we do not have one in DCS. Before people say they're a cruise missile, there are things like Tomahawk cruise missiles, which do probably represent the V-1 quite well. But you cannot, I've tested it, and you cannot interact with them, you cannot tip them or even really crash into them. So it'd have to be an aircraft. Good ones for the job might be the L-39 or the Aviojet if they have an autopilot capability, so they can maintain the flying bomb characteristics. If not, RC can fly the bomb manually, as CLAP is to try the challenge. Parameters of the test. Speed of the V-1, 340 miles an hour. Altitude, we've got high altitude, and we've got the kind of actual lower altitude later on. Intercepted to integrate the bomb, visually identify the bomb. 1 is to shoot the bomb from behind, up close, and survive the blast, which we can do pretty easily. Second test, choose a side to approach from so you don't tip the bomb towards a village. Get in formation, close the gap in between the tip and the bomb with your wingtip. Third test, try to disturb the airflow underneath or in front of the bomb to throw it off course. I think we're going to give it a go. So we've got RC in the V-1. Now I know this is annoying, but it's the only way we could get it to work. We've got a modern fighter, an FA-18C Wagnermobile, and this, I'm fully aware, is a German, although technically American, Focke-Wulf 190 D9 Dora. Problem of, we do have a Spitfire in this, but it's a 1942 Spit and it can't go at the speeds required. We don't have a 1944 Spit, so this is a 1944 plane capable of the speeds required. What we're going to do is we're going to set RC going in his missile. He's going to put it on autopilot, barometric hold at the correct speed. Then he's going to eject, so then it is a missile with so it's got the proper non-AI physics model of the plane, but there's no human in there, if that makes sense. Are you ready, RC?
Get the speed up here.
It's gonna be so friggin' hot. Oh sweet, I left wake turbulence on, my favourite. Oh no, there is a doodle bug and he is 20 miles off the English coast. It's pitching up. Wagner! Why Wagner? I'm gonna get this stupid Wagner control mobile. It told you, every time you eject from an 18, Wagner physically takes control of it in California, wherever he lives. No, it's stalled. And he flies it home to the nearest base and lands a perfect case 3 every time. So frustrating. Right, well that didn't work, RC. Let's respawn. This time he'll have to stay in. Actually, I want to see what this Wagnermobile does. Stand by. I also want to pop at him. Hey, it's self-destructed. Oh! Where are you going, RC?
I'm flying.
Where are you going? Let's go and have a look at you.
Stabilized.
God damn it, it's just carried on. Did you touch the controls?
Nope, I haven't touched the controls.
He is kind of at a funny angle though, look. He turned, it looks like he's turning.
My autopilot off.
Yeah, look, he's turning.
It's still on.
Oh, damn it. No, if you look at your heading, it's slowly changing. 338, 337.
My altitude is still my attitude is changing. So
the altitude's holding, but the altitude's changing. It's sort of worked, but the Wagner code massively favoured the Hornet in that collision. Should we go and try at 3,000 feet, RC? Hey! Get some! Woo! Baby!
Still flying.
Where are you going now, RC? Where are you going now?
My hands are off. Still.
Hands are off. Let God sort you out, RC.
Turning.
I think that V1's going down, RC. And guess what? I'm okay. So, get some.
At the very least, it's going away from the coast.
Yeah, that is turning around. It's going back towards Nazi Germany, RC. I'd say that's myth confirmed, RC. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, that shows our best attempt at knocking a V1 out. I know it wasn't the most realistic test in the world. In fact, I think it was. I think it was perfectly realistic. We've only got one thing that the fans will want to see now. Can you guess what that is, RC?
Me flying into the sunset.
No, there's something a bit different from that, RC. Wait for it.
Me shooting you
Wait
down.
for it. No, not you shooting me down. V1 didn't have any. Oh!
Hey!
Hey! Whoa! Hey, we're learning. Don't shoot me.
My hands are off.
Hands are. Oh, look at those bullets. Take that V1 down.
Wait, now my hands
it's going
are
down.
off.
Now you're in a world of pain, RC. You are literally in a world of pain. Yeah! V1 down. Get some! Right. Valued viewers, I hope that was educational and good fun. Any final comments, RC?
That was good fun.
Thank you, Ivan, and we'll see you later.